I'm Chief Warrant Officer 4 Vic Pinion, U.S. Navy, retired, telling some stories of my naval career. This one, I had been aboard the USS Midway CV-41 serving as the catapult and rescue gear maintenance officer. And I had inherited a lot of problems that I was dealing with. I had been creating some supportive maintenance infrastructure, like a supply setup, two control. I hadn't done the two control yet, but I had other infrastructure type things like establishing a good technical publications library, getting blueprints, blueprint reader printer, and I had been changing things, and it caused considerable disagreement, not just within my own division, but with other divisions and departments, because people weren't accustomed to having to pay attention to these things. Well, I was requiring it. And I was making progress, but especially the catapult chief, who had been running amok, at my own viewpoint. A lot of people liked him, but he was a real bad alcoholic, and he had been doing things his own way, which was kind of like hip pocket management. And he had been the one that did any portion of the maintenance officer job since he had been aboard, because my predecessor was lost in the job. In any case, the CASU rep was a young man, the newest CASU rep, and he had become and I've already told a story about him being assigned to be the Homeport CASU rep, being under-supported big time by his bosses. Personally for him, like not even sending his paycheck, and not cutting him PCS orders so his family, his wife, could come over and live with him and stuff, you know. In any case, those people were complaining about me to everyone that would listen. Well, a lot of people listened to that cat chief, and now this CASU rep's also complaining about me, and they wanted to get me fired from my job. They were doing all they could to see to that. Well, a captain from Comnaver PAC, who was the big boss of all of the Pacific Ocean area CASU reps and ship installations department, from Comnaver PAC, Commander Naval Air Forces Pacific Fleet, he decided he would come out to the ship and meet me and talk with me and get me to tell him about my jobs, my difficulties being experienced, my trials and tribulations, whatnot, you know. One morning, I got a call from the air office, from the air boss, Commander Scott, wanted me to come over to the air office. There's somebody over there who wants to talk with me. So I went over there immediately and walked in. Here's the air boss and the mini boss. Mini boss was Commander Lee, I believe, at the time. And this captain, unknown captain, who I did not know. And I was introduced to this captain, and so the captain took over from there, and he says, and he introduced himself, told me who he was and what he was about. He says, I want to talk with you about your job and about your plans for doing your job, recovering from some difficulties you're experiencing. And I want you to take me around and show me throughout all of the machinery that you work with and point out problems that you have. And tell me all about them, tell me what the problems are, what you think the source cause of them are, and your plans for resolving them. Great. Here was somebody that wanted to talk professionally with me instead of accusing me of wrongdoing. I was happy to escort him around through the division and point out different machinery and problems we were having with it, what my plans were for correcting those problems and so forth. The senior CASU supervisor for the Western Pacific a capsule rep named Herb Berlin. Well, he didn't like me either, and he had been one of the ones bad-mouthing me. He was sitting there in catapult space when I pointed out a problem with a limit switch for the hydraulic accumulator, which had a really sloppy connector, and I told the captain about problems it presented to us and my plans for correcting that problem. This capsule rep said, "Captain, that's not the problem at all," and he pointed to another accumulator switch at the bottom of another accumulator. "This is the problem." So I spoke. I said, "Captain, this is the problem." I demonstrated to him how it was a problem. I said, "Now the switch that Mr. Berlin just pointed out, yes, it's a problem too. As a matter of fact, I have a work request to have that replaced. The operating mechanism for it's in the bottom of that accumulator. We can't get the accumulator apart. So we're having the ship repair facility come in and take this accumulator over to the ship repair facility and disassemble it, clean out corrosion and so forth, replace the operating mechanism that's stuck, and put a new switch in there." So, but yes, both of these switches are problems. The captain agreed with me. Well, Mr. Berlin got a hurt look on his face and he just sort of slunk away. And he didn't do much with me after that. He went back to the Philippines, I guess, where he was based. About 4 hours into this, the air boss was with us the whole time. Commander Scott said, "Captain, some things go right." And the captain spoke up and says, "Boss says he's doing exactly what I asked him to do." Well, that captain went back to, and he complimented me before he left. "You're doing a fine job, bosun. Keep up the good work." And he went back to Commandant Verpack and he wrote a very laudatory letter to the captain of the ship, telling him that I was exactly the right man to do the job and I was doing what needed to be done and to support me. Man, did that captain's letter get a lot of people off my case. No, I was not shown that letter. Ever. Ever. The next air boss told me about it months later. When people get on your case, they don't want to get off of it. Okay, y'all carry on.